Hey guys, welcome to our extra points segment here. I'm kind of switching gears a little bit on the Facebook page. So for the regular 2MD recap that we've been doing on Sunday nights with the video, I'm going to switch that over to strictly audio, and this will be our extra points segment. Won't be long. Hopefully, I'll try to keep it under 5 minutes. But just some, I guess, random thoughts on Week 12 in particular in this time, this particular instance. And you know what? I'll just scan through the games real quick. Going through the Thanksgiving games, New England, of course, with the once they, like I said, woke up out of their slumber, they were able to beat Detroit. New Orleans and Dallas, as I said, from a Giants standpoint, of course I wanted New Orleans to win, but obviously not an easy game for the Saints. I don't think they're going to come very easy. It's not going to come easily for the Saints from here on out, I don't think. It's you don't have that swagger of last year. Listen, last year, who thought, right? So maybe now the psychology is a little different with the Saints this year. But the Jets keeping pace, win over Cincinnati. So the Jets. I mean, listen. Maybe not a lot of people would put the Jets there with the likes of the Patriots or the Ravens right now, but they're there. For all of Rex Ryan's bravado and swagger and everything else, so far they've done what they profess to do. So we'll see if that holds up. Of course, Jet fans notoriously are waiting for the other shoe to drop, so we'll see what happens. But Green Bay, Atlanta, many people picked this to be the game of the week, and Atlanta pulling it out. I was surprised. I thought Green Bay would win this game, and talking to Monty McMahon on our Wednesday show this week. I thought that Green Bay would have a leg up here, but it was Atlanta that literally had the leg up kicking the game-winning field goal. So congratulations to the Falcons. Now, Pittsburgh, they did what they had to do, even though it took them to overtime, but they go ahead and knock off the Bills, and the Bills are a tough 2-9. So, but Pittsburgh are winning the games they need to win. Carolina, Cleveland, I didn't think this would be a 1-point game, but Cleveland pulls this one out, and Cleveland's going to be a tough out, going to be a tough spoiler for whatever playoff teams are left on their schedule. Meanwhile, Houston and Tennessee, Houston is like this. Meanwhile, Tennessee, they're pretty much like this. It's all over but the shouting, I think, for Tennessee. Well, they're 5-6, so they're not dead yet. But they're getting there, especially with what's going on between Jeff Fisher and Vince Young. But Jacksonville and the Giants, I wasn't very optimistic. How could you be? You're down 17-6. Your offense stalled in the red zone. You had to settle for 2 field goals instead of touchdowns. But they picked it up in the second half. Even with the injuries to their receivers, they still got Mario Manningham. They still got Kevin Boss. So nice to see a good bounce back when the defense woke up, doing what you have to do. That's what I'm talking about. That should be New York Giant football. You see more of that on a consistent basis from week to week. So they got Washington next week, so we'll see. But speaking of Washington, they lose to Minnesota 17-13. And Minnesota, kind of an enigma. I mean, I don't know if it's Favre. They lose Peterson, but I don't know what it is with the Vikings. They're just an enigma to me. Can't figure them out. Miami, Oakland. This game was also hard to figure out, but the Dolphins win it. Henny comes back, so if they can sustain their quarterback situation for the rest of the season, maybe they can make a run at a wild card. They're probably, most likely, unless a miracle occurs, they're not going to catch the Jets or the Patriots. So looking at a wild card at this point for the Dolphins and the Raiders as well at 5-6. Kansas City, Seattle. I think the Seahawks are one of those teams that's, inconsistent as all can be. Kansas City, they did what they had to do, beating a team that they should beat, so they did that. Castle with 4 TDs. KC boy has to be excited about that. He's shown some patience with Castle this year. I'll give you credit, Mr. Ryan. You've shown some patience with Castle this year, so, nice job. But Tampa Bay, Baltimore. This was a tough game. When I saw the score, I think it was a pretty low-scoring game, for a good part of it. And Baltimore, showing that they have the defense to win. So, good job from Baltimore. Philly and Chicago. Of course, from a Giants standpoint, I wanted the Bears to win so we could get back, at least a share of the division lead. But the Bears, I don't know. I remember, when we played the Bears and, we sacked Cutler 9 times. I just seems like the offensive line can't really protect him, but they found a way to win this game. They found a way to get to Vic. They picked him off. Now, it wasn't Vic's fault. It was a tip a tip ball, but nonetheless, they find a way to get it done and beat Philly. So, give credit to the Bears and Lovie Smith. St. Louis, Denver. I did not think the Rams would win this game. I thought Denver would at least show you. I mean, they scored 33 points, but the problem is that St. Louis scored 36. So I don't know. I haven't quite figured out the Rams yet. That entire division, of course, is but haven't quite got my finger on that. San Diego, Indianapolis. Who would have thought the end result here, 36-14? I mean, maybe the Chargers have just been a sleeping giant the first few weeks of the season, and now here they come, and they could. I don't know if they'd run the table necessarily, but if they can beat the Colts that badly, you can't rule it out. So but San Fran and Arizona on Monday night. I guess like I said, I think I said this in my picks that I would have to go with the Niners only because Arizona is one of those teams that's fallen off the cliff now, and San Francisco, I would think that even on the road, Singletary would have them up for this game. Both of these teams, particularly San Francisco, on life support, as far as the NFC West goes. So, listen, if they win here, even at 4-7, they're only a game out of first place. So, still a big game in that division, even though it doesn't look it from the records. But anyway, so I appreciate you guys tuning in for our extra point segment. So I'll do this the rest of the way and just leave the audio as far as the two main shows go. So you guys want to post a comment or whatever, do so on our Facebook page. Gotten a few comments on the YouTube page as well, so I appreciate those. But until Wednesday, Wednesday, I'll probably tape our interview segment Wednesday. I pretty much know who I'm going to have for our timeout segment on Wednesday, but and then we'll do the show Thursday. So until Thursday, where I do the picks and the preview for week number 13. Good night, Godspeed. Talk to you later.